Good evening and welcome to the Crestwood School District Study Session on Monday, June the 16th of 2025. We're going to call the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. Mr. Secretary, can you please take roll call?
Trustee Amen,
Here.
VP Janoon. Here. Haas Baydoun is not here.
Trustee Baydoun will not be at the
Trustee-
meeting this evening.
Sorry. Trustee Elziak,
Here.
Trustee Fawaz,
Here.
I am here, and President Sable.
Here.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. So, yeah, bond subcommittee?
Yeah, no, she was, yeah.
I'm so
I was just
confused.
asking if Rashid sent the information.
Yes.
You
You
did?
have it.
Give me just a second to pull it up, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Musalam, our superintendent.
Okay, thank you.
You're giving the report, right? Yeah.
I have it. Just give me, I'm sorry. Give
No,
me a minute.
no
I didn't
worries.
realize it was the first thing, or the only thing.
All that, and we had it, we just.
Sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes real quick. So, want to make sure I have the right date. So, last week, was it last week or the week before? My apologies. I'm not
Week
even
before.
right. Week before. So the week before last, we held our Board of Education Bond Subcommittee meeting with the engineers, the architects, and the construction management team, as well as members from our team. And the team went over where we're at in the process, what we've accomplished thus far, and then our next steps. And part of that presentation also included the potential timeline, a review of the site plans, as well as looking at some changes that have been made in those site plans since there were subcommittee walkthroughs from the schools. So each school had their own subcommittee that consisted of teachers, parents, the administration, other staff members that would be impacted by the design plans. And through that process, throughout this entire time, actually, we started that, very soon after the bond was passed. The architects received from us as a district what our overall plans were based on what we presented at the community forum, based on the scope of the bond that was passed and voted on. And then from there, they commenced with walkthroughs in each building to get feedback, get some ideas, get some from the impact of from those that are going to be mostly impacted. And then they made some adjustments in those plans based on that. One of the conversations that was had with each committee group was, we're taking your recommendations, and as long as your recommendations are within the scope of the bond, are cost-effective, and logistically appropriate, we definitely will take those things into consideration. So there's been a lot of movement. I can tell you that asbestos removal for the flooring has begun at Kinlock and Hillcrest starts tomorrow. Highview will be starting within the next month or so. Within the next week or so, my apologies. Yeah, July, right?
July 7th.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking we're already in July, so July 7th. And the goal is that all that asbestos removal will be completed, and then work will commence starting on the facilities themselves shortly thereafter. So that was just some basic information. I know the subcommittee has some things to report out. I appreciate the subcommittee's time. And
Yusuf, you could just continue, because what he sent me isn't what I thought it was.
really, okay.
No pressure.
No, that's okay.
I mean, I can give an update too from the meeting. We went through the plans of each building, initial things that are gonna take place for the building. We looked at, expansion for the 5th grade classrooms that are gonna be added to Hillcrest, to Highview, and to Kinlock, which looks really nice. I'm glad that we went over everything, because we got to identify a couple of safety security measures that we wanna make sure are in place. We got to see like parking lot spaces, how we're gonna gain some spaces for the parking, and how we're gonna make those loops for pickup and drop off flow better through the neighborhood. I tell everybody all the time, no one can walk on water, but I see the improvements and starting to get more excited every day over the stuff that we're gonna see happening here. One of the things that I thought was great too is air conditioning for the buildings, which I'm sure everybody will be grateful for. We're hitting, so like we have, where I work, we have a summer discovery program where kids are in the building all summer, and it's gonna be 95 degrees the first week that it's opening, right? So now we're trying to make sure that there's air-conditioned spaces for students to go into. So, you know, for us, that'll be only short-term problem for us, because in the long term, that's gonna be alleviated from our
That's
staff.
phase two though, right?
Correct,
That's next year, not this coming year.
Next year, correct?
yes. But we did take a look at units that they're gonna use for larger space. We got to see units that they're gonna use for smaller spaces, like coverage maps, if you
Yeah.
will, for the buildings. So which all, Yusuf, correct me if I'm wrong, will be shared online as well, so the community can look at it?
Yes, so right now,
Okay.
so we had a community forum presentation so one of the things that the community requests is that we do a bi-monthly update, and we had our forum presentation, which didn't go into as much depth as what was given at the board study session, which gave an overview. We had some people who showed up, we didn't have many, but all that information is on our website already. So the presentation that was shared at the community forum is on our website underneath the bond tab, and people can see the site plans, they can see the timeline and the projects.
So a quick question, I don't know, and I'm just speaking off the cuff here because I'm curious. We already have the units for the AC units? Are those,
No,
we don't have, they've been ordered?
no, not yet.
They
Not
have.
until the bid goes out. The bid will go out end of June, beginning July,
Okay.
and then those will be ordered.
And so my question, I guess, really would be, does it have to be a part of phase two if it's gonna be, even if we phased it into, for example, the high school first?
Unfortunately, yes, because of the fact that it would interrupt classrooms, putting the ductwork in the classrooms and all around the places. So there's not a way to, it's gonna have to happen over the summer, because otherwise, there's not necessarily a way to get everything installed during the school day. There will be some things that they're doing after school and after hours, but it's not going to be able to get it all complete in that timeframe.
Okay. Now I'm even further confused, but.
What are you
okay.
specifically, what's it specifically that you're asking?
We'll catch up offline. I have been under the assumption of something different, from ductwork to certain units and.
No,
all
so
that.
allow me to explain that. Maybe, as you see in this room here, you see those ventilators.
Sure,
All the classrooms are going to be receiving those ventilators.
correct.
Large spaces such as the theater, the auditoriums, the cafeterias, they're going to be receiving ductwork that will be forced air.
Okay,
Reason for that is because we don't have ceilings that in our elementary schools and in our other schools that can host or hold all the ductwork. These systems here are controlled, will have a master control, and they do the job in order to cool off the areas. Plus, there'll be pushed air that will be going into the hallways that will help those spaces as well.
pushed from the classrooms.
Yeah, no, there will be some ductwork that will be done where it can push into the hallway.
Okay,
When the elementary schools are ready for fifth grade to enter, all that should be done and ready to go. For the secondary, what has to happen is we have to do the work in the buildings, which would be part of phase two. Now, phase two will start near the end of phase one. So as we're finishing up, so the summer of 2026 is when we'll be finishing up, or even a little earlier, we'll be finishing up phase one, we'll start phase two. Phase two will be the secondary buildings, the Riverside and the high school. But we can't put in air conditioning while the kids are in session, because then we'll be interrupting their learning spaces.
Sure.
So those air conditioning and cooling systems will start being put in most likely at the conclusion of the 26-27 school year, or it could be pushed back a little bit based on where the work is, because we're adding the 10 classrooms to the high school. We're adding the new gymnasium to the high school. So all that's going to really play a role into that timeline.
And I think one of the, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the reasons that's got pushed to phase two is because there were some priority things that needed to be done, those that you mentioned, but one of the biggest things was the fifth grade transition. So getting those classrooms ready for fifth graders and then being able to, by September 2026, move the fifth graders, that'll be their first year back in elementary
Yeah.
schools.
I think we identified that as a top priority even before,
Yep,
anything
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So I'm not in disagreement. I was just curious if that part of phase two could, be incorporated in phase one, but,
Logistically, actually, the problem we could face is also more work. Because as we're adding the classrooms, as we're adding the gymnasium, as we're doing the renovations within the buildings, if we put any of these units in and then we have to take them out, we have to change. Because once we start breaking down walls and we start looking,
I get it.
so
Okay.
it will be done. It'll be, a lot of that's going to be based on how fast we can get the work done in the middle school and the high school. Now, there is potential that maybe the middle school will get it before the high school. That is that potential.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of work that we are doing is going to be at the high school, and that's where there's going to probably be the most, in my opinion, probably the most disruption, because we're adding the 10 classrooms, we're adding the gym, we're redesigning many interior areas like the old locker rooms and different things as such. So it's going to come down to how it works out in the timeline.
Yeah, we're looking at a few different units, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to adding new buildings and everything else. Okay,
Correct.
perfect. Does anyone have any questions from trustees?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
motion to adjourn, study session.
Motion to adjourn by trustee Williamson. Supported by trustee Amen. All in favor, please signify
Aye.
by stating aye. Any opposed? All right, motion is 5:44. Thank you. And I guess we're gonna go right back into another study session here.
Not session, budget special hearing.
Oh, okay.
So that's scheduled to start at 6, and technically got to wait until 6.
That's fine. Let's go ahead and wait. We'll take a break for 15 minutes and be back. Thank you.